What's going on? Welcome back. Welcome back. So, my name is Ola, 20 years in digital marketing. So, anything I share with you here is real results. You can actually see my dash. This is my actual dashboard. And we show the journey. So, for example, right now we're in the middle of a project. It's 1,826 days project. I know it's about 5 years, right? And we're only 55 days in, and you can see the result right there already. You can see a new high, right? Now, I'm looking at some of the conversations going online. I'm scanning through the internet, looking at Neil Patel's platform, looking at Russell Brunson's platform, looking at some of the most popular guys, even Sunny, the YouTube lady, even Gary Vaynerchuk, right? I'm looking at some of this stuff, and I'm seeing people. I'm seeing conversations, well, mostly about AI, about funnels, and people are not paying attention to the most important thing. And oftentimes, there's so much information, and people are just confused. For example, look at this question, right? Somebody says, should we be concerned about competing content? It's now being intentionally tracked and indexed. Okay, so just in case you don't know who I am, I authored this book, Digital Marketing Certified, back in 2022. All right, but again, I've been in the game for 20 years, so things have evolved over a period of time, as you can imagine, right? But there's something that really never changed. What never changes is this one core pillar. There are three core pillars from what I taught in the book. There's people, there's value, and there's systems, right? Another way to say that is medium, message, market, right? So, but people, right? People and value, that never changes. The platforms can change. The media can change forms, right? But when it comes down to it, it comes down to two things mainly. Obviously, you have to try to be respectful to the native nature of whatever platform or media or systems you're using, right? But it's about people and value, right? So when you look at this question, should we be concerned about competing content, right? Let me just, before I'm going to answer that question, right? No, you shouldn't be concerned, but I'm going to elaborate a little bit more about that, right? But let me show you some of the stuff that we have going on here. As you can see, this is a 90 days new high on this particular project. This is just one aspect of it. Yes, we're doing multi-channel. Yes, we're everywhere. Okay, just like Neil was saying in his last video, we are everywhere, and you have to. When I say everywhere, it doesn't mean you spread yourself too thin. Like, you have to be careful. In fact, I'm looking at another comment. Let me see if I can find it real quick. The person says, with all due respect, this strategy only works for medium and large companies that have that staff and budget to be everywhere. Well, this project I'm working on is a one-man person, okay? And all it takes is we have a system called the 5-hour attraction-based customer acquisition system, ABCAS, right? So, and that's what I teach here. That's basically what I deploy for my clients. Okay. Now, if you're looking for more information about that, you can just go to digitalmarketingcertified.com. It's scrolling through the screen. Now, let's get down to it. I wanted to show you something really cool, right? If I go under performance here, you can see that number right there. Let me make sure it's showing good. So it's about 641 clicks, about total impressions, about 50,000 in the last 90 days alone. I'm going to continue to review this. I'm showing you what's working, so I'm documenting this as we're going. So make sure you're subscribed to this channel, right? So if you look at that over the last 90 days, 50,641. If you multiply 50,000 by our average right now is about $20 per 1,000 impression, right? So that's 20 multiplied by 50. That would be, if I was to spend money on this, I would have to spend $1,000, okay? But because I know a few things that's been optimized into our workflow, right? And now we're able to just generate this in the last 90 days, okay? If you look at the last 28 days, about 19,000 of that, right? And last 7 days, about almost 5,000 of that, right? So again, there's a method to the madness, and it's a one-man machine, because again, it's even easier now more so ever than before, right? Back in the days when I started digital marketing, in the last 20 years, let's just say 20 years, right? 20 plus years, right? So that time you have to pick all the pieces together, right? Now today you can literally have everything aligned, and it's click, 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 click. But of course, you need to know the fundamentals, right? So I'm looking at this number here, right? I'm like, wow, that's $1,000 that I would have had to spend for visibility, for exposure. But now not just that, because the idea here is not just to get free traffic. You want to actually convert them to sales, right? But to answer the question more straightforward, right? To answer the question, because again, this particular traffic you're looking at has extensions on YouTube. Okay, that's a second platform. Has extensions on Facebook, has extensions on Instagram, has extension on TikTok, right? That's another 3 additional platforms. But the same process is what basically creates, right? It starts from one piece of content. All right, so it's just a matter of organizing yourself so that you can actually, just like a media company, you have to act like a media platform so that you can actually have everything streamlined. So I understand how it might feel like, oh, it's going to take like a gazillion people on a team to make this happen. Again, it comes down to what you know. If you don't know, you don't know, right? But anyway, I wanted to share this with you so you can know what's possible. Now, looking at this number, I'm looking at, when you get data like this, you're able to see opportunities, right? So let's look at I'm looking at 1.3 average click-through rate, right? Now, that's a good, like on the internet, generally speaking, in the history of internet, anywhere from 1 to 5% conversion of any type means you have something going and you can actually have opportunity to improve, right? So I'm looking at 1.3%. I'm looking at 28 days. I'm looking at still 1.3. I'm looking at 7 days. I'm looking at last 7 days, 1.4. Okay. So, but not just that, right? If I go back to 3 months, I'm going to scroll down to the pages that is actually ranking on the search engines. Oh, by the way, not just the search engines. We're looking at AI, right? We're looking at generative AI. We're looking at platforms like most people now go to ChatGPT, they go to Gemini, they go to Claude if they have questions, right? Well, not most people, but a lot of people, a lot more. Like the market share of search has now gone in that direction, right? So how do you get mentioned up there? That's another conversation that is hot and popping right now. So if you go under here, you see under performance, you click this drop down and I click under generative AI. I can literally see that we have visibility. Guess what? I just noticed this. Okay, so now here I'm looking at this, like I'm just noticing that this in the last few days, and there was a massive spike here. Remember, this project I'm on is only started in the last 55 days. Okay, and in the last 55 days, we're already seeing a new high just in consistency. Let me tell you the number one secret in any one of this. Okay, it's not about it. Yes, you have to kind of like be in as many places as possible. There's one factor that beats all of that, and that's consistency. Focus, consistency. The shiny object syndrome is at all times high. So I understand why people might say, okay, this is just a lot, they get frustrated. It's because you don't have one process, you don't have one system in place. And that's why, honestly, that's why I created the 5-hour ABCAS system, right? Again, ABCAS stands for attraction-based customer acquisition system. All right, so it's a lot. It's a mouthful, but just say ABCAS, right? The ABCAS system is a 5-hour system that allows you to deploy a piece of content that basically goes everywhere, okay? And you can do all of that within 5 hours. Right now, we have doing it internally here right now. It takes about 3 hours and change, okay? 3 hours and change, okay? It's just stay focused. And all you need is one piece of content that's optimized, not just optimized in terms of the content itself, but in terms of distribution, in terms of the platform where they're going, like the nativeness of the platform they're going. But all of that can be streamlined into one small process. We call them the standard operating procedure, right? We have that. So if you're interested in that, because it has to be tailored to your specific business. If you're interested in that, just go through, get the book first, and then you go to that platform to book a discovery session with me, because it will depend on your particular business. But look at this generative AI features. It's actually in beta, and they're showing us where we've shown in the last 3 months. It shows about almost 3,000 times that we've actually been mentioned when you go on ChatGPT and you search for it. It's the same rules. It's about people, it's about value, right? Then of course it's about the media or the medium or the system, whatever, how you link those two things together becomes another factor, right? So it comes down to those three core pillars, right? So you look at that, you see that right there. And if I go, I'm gonna show you something here. You see, look at the pages on this website, right? The pages on this website, you can see actual gradual climbing. These are opportunities to quit. When it looks flat, these are all opportunities to quit, right? So if I go back to overview, you can literally see there's a new high. You can see this number climbing here. This number that's declining is basically not index pages. It's declining as we go. So it's consistency, guys. So if you understand this, you'll be just fine. And again, if you're jumping all over the place, you're going to have problems. If you look at here, you see 249. That's 40% increase in the last 28 days. I can put it on 3 months. It will tell you 17% increase, 18% increase in the last 28 days. It's literally accelerating. Okay, so how do we do this? It's very simple. I've just told you. It's as simple as people value. Now, in terms of what Neil might be talking about in this video, which is basically being everywhere, multi-channel, multi-purpose, just making sure that your every second in your pieces of content is actually doing as much work as possible. It comes down to you being able to architect a system that works with respect to your specific business. And I think I understand where the complaints are coming from. Every business is different. Where you are in your business will determine how you deploy some of these solutions, right? A lot of people spend a lot of money on tech stack that they don't really need, right? So a lot of people spend time on, they buy all this, that they buy that, they buy that, before they know it, it's just confusion everywhere, right? So I see somebody said my channel needs to be found, right? Okay, how is it going to be found? You have to put yourself out there, and then you have to not just put yourself out there. I hate to deceive you in that manner. You have to do it in a constructive manner. You have to do it with a plan, right? You have to have a system that you're following. You have to have a system that you're following for the next 6 months, okay? 3 to 6 months minimum, okay? Because like I told you, let me tell you something, right? On the 15th day of this process, we had a massive breakthrough, right? That may not happen on your 15th day, right? On the 36th day, we had another massive breakthrough, right? And then by, again, it gets more frequent, right? Eventually it takes off. I'm talking about when I say massive breakthrough, right? So look at this right now, 55 day, you're looking at a new high, right? These are the leading indicators, but they're not even leading. The most important leading indicator for you is your output on a day-to-day basis. That's what you need to be looking at if you're trying to win in digital marketing, okay? Now, in order to be able to stay put, and you need to understand the fundamentals, and that's what I cover in this book. You get access to the book for free. It's called Digital Marketing Certified. Just go to digitalmarketingcertified.com if you're interested in that. But again, to answer the question more straightforward, right? That this idea that you're going to need staff, you're going to need a big budget. In fact, honestly, that may be at your own detriment. Okay, let me say that properly. You might end up, if you have too much budget, actually that may be problems, okay? That can turn out to be a problem because you're going to think it's about just throwing money at the system, right? There's something called scalability, right? When it comes to creating exposure, visibility for your business. You want to be able to do it scalably in a way that you don't lose, there's a word I'm looking for, like the slippage, right? If you go too fast, you're going to crash and burn, okay? And if you go too slow too, you can also crash and burn. So what is too fast? What is too slow? It's too slow is when you're not putting enough output on a day-to-day basis, where you can say like, I've done today's work, right? That will be something you can look at that show you momentum, that can show you this kind of data that we're looking at here. Okay, so that's key. You want to be able to see data coming in. If I go here, if I go under performance and I just put this at you can see like literally Google is showing us thousands and thousands and thousands of times, right, over the past, right? Now that data will be able to tell me that, okay, I'm getting 1.3% of actual people clicking over to see my website. So is there an opportunity here? Yes, 1.3 can become 3%. Let me go here. Let me show you something real quick. If I go under average click-through rate, and I'm going to leave it at this for today so I don't overwhelm you. I'll be back sooner than you think. Okay, if I go under this average click-through rate and I scroll down to the actual pages that are ranking, right? If I look here, I'm going to sort this. I'm going to sort this particular number. Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit so you can see. All right, so if I look here, I can sort this by from high to low, right? And then I see 100%, 100%. Some places are saying once and they actually get clicked, okay? But that's probably not real because they need enough impressions. So I'm showing you how my mindset works right now, right? So I need to know, I have to see enough impression on each piece before I can decide if it's enough for me to make a judgment on it, right? If I can make it statistically valid, right? So if I go on total impressions, I can see some number. I want to see at least 100 impressions before I can determine that the percentage is good enough, right? So if I go here, I'm going to sort this. Okay, so I can actually, I think there's a way to do that here. Go up here. Okay, let me see. I'm not going to do that. There's a way to add a filter. Okay, there you go. Add a filter. I can say let's add a filter. Pages, search appearance. Let me see what that looks like. All right, no, not this one. Boom. Let's see. Add filter query. This place I'm looking for. Let me see. Let me reduce it so I can see better first. Let's see. Okay, so the filters. There's a way to use the filter. Okay, there you go. This is the filter. Impressions. I want impression to be greater than or equals to, the more the better. Okay, the more the number is valid. So it will only show me all the pages that showed up at least 1,000 times in the search engine result pages. Okay, I'm going to click done. So now I don't have any fluffy numbers. I don't have like 100% because that's not realistic, right? But when you see when the page has been seen 1,000 times, presented by Google 1,000 times, and I can and whatever that percentage click-through rate, that means how many people on average for every 100 is actually clicking to see. That number is more valid, right? So now that I have minimum of 1,000 impressions, now I can sort by click-through rate, and then I have 3.9 is the highest. That means, okay, in the last 6 months, people that seen this post, 3.9, that's a big time. That means I can actually improve this 1.3 average. I have room for improvement, right? So I can literally take this page and see what people are seeing. Like for example, people are seeing the title, they are seeing the description on this search engines, right? So wife makes no effort in bed. If I go into Google, I say wife makes no effort in bed, right? In bed, right? And I click that, and I scroll through. Let me see if I can see our page up there. Well, anyway, I don't have to see our page. You see, this blue link is called the title. This one is the description. Basically, I can go look at that page that's winning. Okay, sorry. This is the page right here. I wasn't showing it. When I search for that phrase, I can see the title, I can see the description. I can literally take this title, see the formula of how this title is created. I can find the DNA of why the title is working so well. Why is it getting 3.9%? Right? I can use that to now create my other titles and descriptions, and I can use that to continually improve. See, when you're not getting data, you're not going to have enough to improve. All right, that's why I see people talking about offers, they're talking about funnels, they're talking about all the sales stuff, all the sales tactics, but they don't have traffic. If you don't have traffic, how do you know what to improve on? How do you know if the win yesterday is consistent? Like, you see how I was able to tell that this win is consistent because I was able to filter it to at least 1,000 impressions, as opposed to if I took out that if I take out that filter, right, I would see 100%. That 100% is just a win at one time. It doesn't tell me anything. So it needs to be statistically valid, meaning you need to have enough samples, enough that's a word I'm looking for, enough events, enough of that event to be able to say, okay, this happened enough times so I can make it valid. All right, these are some of the things that become much more useful for you when you learn the fundamentals. What is the fundamentals? MMM, market, media, message, right? the message is as simple as what do you sell, okay, and how does it help? How does it benefit your customer? The customer is the market, right? Now, how do you link the market with the message, the product with the people, right? How do you do that, right? That's something that you learn piece by piece. And for us, it's a simple process, a simple 5-hour process. Every video, every article is an agent that's designed to bring in at least one customer per year. Do the math. You work for the next 5 years. Every piece is supposed to bring in one customer per year. And the way we do our content here is the evergreen content. We're not chasing after trends. Okay. So if you're chasing after trends, it's a different strategy entirely. And there's a way to do that as well. But anyway, just wanted to come here and share some numbers with you. If you want to stay connected to what we're doing, just hit subscribe, turn up your notifications. You want to get started to actually get going, you think I can help you with this, I do know what I'm talking about. I've been doing this for 20 years. Get through the book, okay? Get the book, read the book at least about 10 times. Yeah, dare I say. But as soon as you download the book, you'll see an opportunity to book a diagnostic session with me so I can look at your business and see how we can help you improve it using our attraction-based customer acquisition system, ABCAS. All you need is 5 hours per week, and you can build a fantastic business. You might have employees that you want to train on how to do this. We also offer that. But anyway, just get through that first, go through a diagnostic session, and then we'll see if we can work together. All right, that's all I have for you. You can see the link scrolling through the screen. It's actually where do I show this? Oh, okay. Yeah, just go to, I can't find it. Interesting. All right. Yeah, just go to digitalmarketingcertified.com. Scrolling through the screen. Hopefully you've been enlightened, educated. Take care. God bless. Peace.